Sick transition, Deuce. Sick transition, Deuce. Welcome into the program today, everyone. How are you? It is so lovely to be with you today. Can you hear me? Do you care? So we are going to have an amazing hour this morning talking to you about a new product that we will all collectively work on here so that we can spread fact-based information to everyone and give everyone else who's unable to come to this program every day a Wunder product, as the Deutschers would say, that can help people to get the context they need to understand the news, because it's not enough to just tell people, hey, I've got this great resource here. You have to give people even more products in a world where people are not self-selecting for healthy fact-based news at all times. So get on in here. If you are here in the Substack, we welcome you, and we want you to come to twitch.tv/Public Enlightenment and follow us. You could really help out your old pal Rev Deuce if you went to twitch.tv/Public Enlightenment. And even if you don't watch over there, even though it is better to watch over there because the stream is less delayed, you can please follow, give a follow, please like, follow, subscribe to Rev Deuce every single place that you are at all times. Now here's the deal, everybody. Exciting stuff today, exciting developments for all of us. We are going to spend this hour every weekday from now until the end of time. Yes, Rev Deuce is an infinite being who will never cease to exist. So now until the end of time, we will be creating a product together, live. F it, we're doing it live, okay? And so I'm going to show you what that looks like today. And so I'm going to get that ready to do. So we are going to, this originated as an idea where yesterday was talking about establishing a medium diet for MAGA. But the thing is I also used to do a daily roundup, or a Thursday roundup. I used to round up what was the most important news for people to be getting. And so today, every day, we are going to spend the time to create that product. I am then going to create that product in between the day and then when I live stream later. And then people will have like 4 articles that I will synthesize, but obviously people should read the articles. Linda, we needed you yesterday. We were trying to understand where Britain's newsroom landed in the British media ecosystem. But I looked it up and we learned some stuff about it. But so anyway, we are going to be creating a product. So far, I have had some ideas for it. It's called the MAGA 4. That's dumb. But the idea is that it is part of a nutritious daily news diet. So we think we're going to be calling it the Daily Dose because we have our prayer and our religion called the Daily Dose. And so this would be a daily dose of vitamins, of vitamin C, vitamin context, of vitamin F, vitamin facts, and of vitamin D, vitamin democracy. Because if you are not informed, the only way to be a participant successfully in a democracy is to remain informed, to be making decisions in a democracy, civic decisions, to assemble, civic decisions to, apply your grievances before your representatives, civic decisions to vote and to campaign and to, push for your cause. You can't do that unless you are informed. So vitamin D democracy will be aided by this. And so this is a product that we are going to create basically, and I'm going to hopefully every single day put out on my Substack a little not Axio style in terms of anything other than form, where there will be a brief synopsis of always encouraging people to read the article, but where there will be a brief synopsis. And so we want to be providing people with context. And so what we're going to do, Jason, and I need you on this one, and what we're going to do to viewers on YouTube and Substack and Twitch, and I need you all on this one, is we're going to go through a bunch of stories. Today I have a bunch of stories, and I was inspired last night. I was like, people need to be seeing all of this, right? People need to be seeing all of this at all times. And so, what aren't people seeing? So I want you to be thinking as we go through all of this news today, I want you all to be thinking, what is the most important thing for people to see? So we're going to kind of go rapid fire for about a half hour Where's my phone? There's my phone. We're going to go rapid fire for about a half hour. And we're going to, I don't know if we're going to like call something A, B, C, D, whatever. We're going to figure out how to do this process live, but it is also going to be, I think, helpful for all of you because it is still going to be us going through the news in a way where you can, you know, get your understanding and you can get some perspective on what's going on in the world. So I think it's a beneficial way to spend our time for everybody. It might mean that we spend a little less time talking about our information ecosystem. And part of the reality of why that would be is because we don't engage with MAGA folks so much during this portion of our programming every single day. And so I hope that everyone is excited about this. I'm pretty excited about it. And we will see what we come up with and what it ends up looking like. So let's just jump right in. I think I'll start. I've been sharing stuff. What's so amazing is across the public enlightenment universe, I'm able to share so many pieces of information every day, but it's hard to keep them all in one place. So that's upsetting. But we are going to go through a lot of stuff. And I think what we'll start with is just specifically articles that I was finding last night. And it's a lot of stuff from Substack. I was in the Substack notes section last night and I was just restacking things and I was coming across so much amazing information. So let's get started. This is interesting. I didn't think that this is something that who even is this person? Okay, great. So this is maybe a piece of messaging. Oh, this is a piece of messaging. And so this is one thing to start with and we can talk about it. So this needs to be a commercial on every network, says this person. I heard Republicans in the House. And at first I was like, is this AI? What is this? Who made this? But I think this is like extremely solid messaging. And so maybe messaging can be a part of the Daily Dose. Okay. So
Congress.
Get in here. Okay.
Wake the fuck up, Congress. There
Intense.
are 3 branches of government for a reason. To divide power so no one branch can turn this country into a dictatorship.
But guess what? If you, Congress, yes you, give up your power to the executive branch, that leaves only the judicial branch to stand up
and defend this country. And once the executive starts ignoring the judiciary, which is happening right now, what the hell is left?
You are watching this unfold, not in theory, not someday, now. This authoritarian, power-hungry president
is actively ignoring the courts. And yeah, I get it, you're scared he'll come for you next. But guess what? This is what you signed up for. That fear is the very reason you have to act.
You were elected to be a check on power, not a damn fucking spectator. It is your collective constitutional duty
to protect the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and the very foundations of democracy.
Congress, use your power. Congress, guard your power. Stop letting one man run this country like a dictatorship.
This is about the survival of the United States of America as a democratic republic. We, the people, elected you, Congress, to protect this country. So fucking do it!
Okay, so that's pretty intense, but it hit me last night kind of hard. So we'll call that we'll call that messaging. We'll probably just come back to all of these things, and we'll hope that we can do a good job of coming back to all of them. So let's move on, and that is restacked. Is that restacked? Is that restacked? So I've restacked that now. That is restacked, so you can go to my feed of notes on social media if you want to use that piece of persuasive information. Let's keep going, everybody, through the news with Rev Deuce. We're flying. So I thought that this was like a very also effective piece of messaging. So again, like, we're not in articles world right now, but like, we got to come up with the idea of like whether or not we want also it to be, just like important pieces of information that people need to see to be successfully participating in a democracy. So this is Antonia Scatton. She is a sociologist. She is, well, she says a cognitive scientist. She is an acolyte, I guess, or someone who's gone through the, they talk about coaching trees of the NFL. She is a George Lakoff coaching tree product. George Lakoff being the, psychologist and writer and thinker who talks about framing. So she says, why do Democrats and others in our community not understand that we have to work just as hard to craft and spread the truth as they work to craft and spread lies? I don't just mean spreading the accusation that they are lying. I mean making the case for the reality that they are trying to convince people doesn't exist. Every tool they use is a tool we must use. Repetition, conviction, obliviousness to counter arguments. I don't care if it feels like we're just stating the obvious or having to tell people things they should already know. It's like reality is out there every day trying to stand its ground as a phalanx of right-wing bullies beats it to a pulp, and we just stand by the side saying, ooh, look at those bad people. Why the ever-loving F are we not in there fighting on reality's side? This is what Rev Deuce talks about all the time when he contextualizes that not as this playground situation as she's talking about, but as an information war. Why are we all sitting on our hands in the information war? Some people believe that reality is itself a social construct, that having the power to shape public opinion actually determines what is or isn't real. There is such a thing as reality, but people process and interpret reality through images, metaphors, frames, and narratives. The public perception of reality is determined by who goes out there and exposes the American public to the images and narratives that make their very real experiences and observations make sense. That sense-making is the battleground we are currently conceding to the Republican corporate Christian right when we communicate only in defensive terms, never taking responsibility for our role in forming positive meaning for our society. So instead of the Daily Dose, I'm thinking this could also be called sense-making. Sense-making news. We're taking all suggestions from our beautiful audience today. And welcome, who are you who is watching on Twitch and subs and YouTube? And get in here, everybody. So far we're not doing so much news, but we're doing persuasive messaging. So here we go. A new analysis estimates the Trump GOP's budget rollback of clean energy tax credits will eliminate nearly 830,000 jobs by 2030 and raise energy prices by 50% by 2035. Just another way the big, beautiful bill, quote unquote, will make the economy worse and your life more expensive. So this is a piece in The Guardian we could link to. Trump's tax bill to cost 830,000 jobs and drive up bills and pollution emissions, experts warn. Okay, so this piece, right? This is something that would be just a piece of information. So let's put B. Let's put Trump's tax bill. Trump bill. Jobs. Energy. Okay, so look, we're not going to read every single article. This is restacked on our Substack, so you can grab it there if you want to see it and find it and use it. Okay, and so that is another one. Now moving on. Right? Is that something that is so important for our MAGA? Originally, the idea was like, this is for MAGA people. It's for everybody. It's a piece of the healthiest information, the most important contextualizing information, so that you can be a strong member of your democracy every single day when you are armed with these like let's say four articles, 4 pieces of information. So I think that one is important for people to understand. That there are consequences, right? This is a consequences one, the one about the energy jobs being lost and our energy getting more expensive, according to experts. So here's Qasim Rashid, who is sort of like a guy who talks on the internet. He says white supremacy is when Donald Trump banned 1,600 plus vetted Afghan refugees who helped the USA against the Taliban, but proudly accepts white Afrikaner South Africans as refugees to the U.S. for no apparent reason except they are white. Reminder that Trump is pro-apartheid and racist. Now, that's a harder one to put into the Daily Dose because it requires, like, we realize we just may have blacked out on Substack for a second. That's a harder one to put into the Daily Dose because it requires, like, more explanation, right? It requires us to go find other articles to support this claim, even though this claim is powerful, and you should repost it and share it across all of your social media because you are a fact warrior. So let's keep going. Judd Legum is talking about the big, beautiful bill that Republicans advanced late last night as a massive transfer of wealth from the poorest Americans to the richest. The bottom 20% of earners will see their income decline by 10%. The top 0.1% will get a gigantic windfall. So the ugly truth about Trump's big, beautiful bill. Wealth redistribution. So is that something that everyone needs to be aware of and to learn about and to have an article about that is synthesized Axios style in a piece, a product that we create that is 4 articles or so, and maybe we throw in like messaging like this as like as a palate cleanser in the article, messaging like this being that white supremacy post by Qasim Rashid. Now let's keep going. Parker Malloy says Scott Pelley's Wake Forest commencement address, right? Do we share that as something for people to watch?
Day. What a beautiful North Carolina day for a graduation.
Now the thing is that that's 23 minutes long, so maybe we don't, but maybe we do an article about it. So I'll put Pelley ? Okay, now moving on. Now this is also sort of an idea that we do in our Media and Democracy Project meetings that should be front page but isn't, right? But the idea here is like we are information nutritionists and we are giving people all of the most important information for them on a given day to understand their world, to understand that Donald Trump is corrupt, to understand that our Constitution is being destroyed, to understand that there are consequences to the Trump administration that people might not get if they are hooked up to a stream of information that is telling them that Harvard is, funding terrorists or something, and they don't get any perspective on why, it's important for Harvard to be getting federal funding, or it's important for universities to get federal funding who are doing research, right? And how this removal of $100 million from Harvard isn't just about this, pro-Palestine protesters or this, propaganda about anti-Semitism. It is about, it is affecting researchers and people who have nothing to do with this or that. People who are doing research into cancer cures and the history of, how academic research at universities that is funded by federal grants has, led to so many innovations for the American people that help us, that make us healthier, that make us safer, that make us happier, all of these kinds of things, right? And so we're trying to provide that context with these things. So that's what we're doing. We're going through and we're creating a product today, everybody, that we will do this every single day. Maybe it won't be as madcap as I've started today's program, but hey, who gives an F and A? We are going to do it. What is an F and A? An F and ass? Who gives an ass? So Duffy says, if you're liberal, they want you to make public transportation. The problem is that it's dirty. You have criminals. It's homeless shelters. This is just an insane thing that I wanted to share with all of you. This is just insane. This is what your government is talking about. This is oftentimes Republicans put in charge, people who want to destroy the agencies that they are put in charge of and are opposed to the regulatory function of the regulatory agency that they've put in charge. Been put in charge of. So Sean Duffy, this is him this is his best skill, is being a inflammatory jerk on a cable news program, right? Or a fake cable news program, right? And so listen to what the transportation secretary has to say about transportation.
Question.
Yes.
And by the way, listen, if you're a liberal, Larry, they want you to take public transportation. I'm okay with public transportation. We have a whole department here for it. The problem is that it's dirty. You have criminals, it's homeless shelters, it's insane asylums, and it's a work ground for the criminal element of the city to prey upon the good people. So if you want people to ride a subway, make it clean, make it safe. It's very, very simple. But these liberals, I don't know, Larry, maybe you figured them out. I don't get it. They don't think through this stuff, and they come up with stupid policy.
Well, they don't invite me to their dinner parties anymore in New York. I mean, so I just have to, deal with that.
They never invited me, Larry.
Mr. Secretary, another point.
These two butthurt weirdos, you know what I mean? You sold your soul to the propaganda devil, and rich people who probably also donate to MAGA politicians don't want to hang out with you anymore because you are propagandists who are destroying the country. So there you go. Jason says, isn't that his job? Yeah, I mean, Sean, I don't know that this is, worth putting into this product, the Daily Dose or the sense-making news. Oh, man, too many ideas. But I think that it is something that people should see. So maybe we pepper that into the thing, right? Do we just make it, I need to be in control of how much time and effort I put into it because I need to also make a video every day. I need to keep doing all the work that I'm doing. But, we're trying to create a product that is like, hey, I'm an information nutritionist. Here's your daily dose of vitamins, vitamin democracy, vitamin context, and vitamin facts, I think that part is pretty cool, and that part's pretty dialed in. But so, like, pepper in Sean Duffy. Okay, let's keep flying through the news, everybody. Reading the news with Deuce. We have lots and lots to get to today. So let's keep going to this is from Public Notice, which is Aaron Rupar's newsroom. In a brisk 4 paragraphs, the court's 6 GOP justices all but demolished the legal basis for independent agencies. The decision highlights the lawlessness of the court and is likely to further embolden a president who is very keen to place himself above the law. Now, another reality is that if we find on any given day that we have a subset of contextualizing articles on a specific topic, we can also make that the focus of the Daily Dose. And so, for instance, we're going to find another bunch of, so what is this? The topic of this is basically like SCOTUS independent agencies, Trump King. SCOTUS independent agencies, Trump King. So we have lots of articles about this, and it's like one of the more nuanced things that is like not going to be, I think, like most of our MAGA friends and loved ones aren't going to get this or understand this, or they're going to be propagandized why we don't need independent agencies. And so I think it's important, like especially if I provide synopses, and so we are going to find another bunch of articles about that as well. Did I stack that? I did. So again, you can go to our profile on Substack on publicenlightenment.com. You can find our notes profile, and then you can share all of this fact-based information and be a fact warrior, which is really what we do every single day here. So Oklahoma Republicans installed a new social studies curriculum that will require all of the state's public school students to be and Linda, thank you for your comment, by the way. Linda mentioned that she didn't have any idea what universities did. She left school at 16, didn't go to university, and then she visited a university in Britain with her daughter, and she understood a little bit more about how universities function and what they do. And then, of course, yes, in America, like there are lots of federal grants that are given to these, there's lots of research, like these labs. All of these things happen at our universities. Innovation occurs more often than not at our universities in America. And that's why we want students from all over the world, the best and the brightest students from all over the world, to come to America, not to replace American students. It's so funny. There's this bizarre paradox, which is like Charlie Kirk is saying, like, don't go to college. And at the same time, the people who fund Charlie Kirk are saying, like, only let white kids in America go to college. Anyway, Oklahoma Republicans installed a new social studies curriculum that will require all of the states. Linda pointing out that Tesla wouldn't exist without universities. It's true. So Oklahoma Republicans installed a new social studies curriculum that will require all the state's public school students to be taught conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. So a group of parents is using a law passed by Oklahoma Republicans in 2024 to opt their kids out. We can just discuss whether or not we want to throw that in. So Oklahoma teaches election lies, which is just horrible. Okay, and so let's move on. Okay, we are through that list that I created there, but I did not stop there. I also did some stuff on our Public Enlightenment profile. So I retweeted reskeeted, I don't know. So Teen Vogue has this incredible article. It's important to reflect not just on our collective actions, but the state's violent response to them. There will always be a response, but so many of the people protesting for the first time in 2020 didn't know that, right? So how the George Floyd protest prepared us for this moment of state violence. Okay, so that's an interesting piece of information. Democracy docket telling us, and again, these are all reposted on our Blue Sky, so you should be a fact warrior. Go spend a little time on our Blue Sky today and share fact-based information about the world that is providing the vitamins of democracy, vitamin D, facts, vitamin F, and context vitamin C. Yes, and we are information nutritionists healing the nation from disinformation with high-quality, fact-based information. 1 in 10 voting-age citizens, over 21 million people, can't readily access documents to prove their citizenship. They could be disenfranchised if the SAVE Act becomes law. So we're talking about voter suppression there, and you know, is that something that we want to include in the daily Diggity Disnos? So Don Moynihan saying international student decisions are sort of like business decisions, big multi-year investments that could become less likely to make under uncertain conditions in politically erratic places. So this is part and parcel with the attacks on the schools and on Harvard. That people should get that context. Maybe that's something that's the focus of today's Daily Dose. So since it was too late to apply elsewhere for his undergraduate studies, I can only brace myself, said Mr. Lee, who plans to study applied mathematics. But in the future, if I can avoid going to the United States to study, I will. They make people too scared. So this is article from the New York Times about Chinese students reckon with U.S. visa bans. Now we've got Greg Sargent talking about facts and rational inquiry are inimical to dictatorial power. Revduce loathes it when smart people use two big words. Of 50% of Americans read at or below a 6th grade level. So, you know, in my writing, I increasingly try to use simpler words, honestly. But so facts and rational. So on the pod, Greg Sargent is talking about deeper authoritarian impulses driving Trump's lawless assault on Harvard. So what was the Harvard thing we just had? Okay, so yeah, okay, yeah, all right. So there's like a notion here that we could build something based around there's Harvard, there's the Times article. There's the there's this article about Trump rants about Harvard getting darker as he loses a big one in court. So it's about Trump's attacks on Harvard. So this would be from New Republic. Right, and we would be providing people with the context about why it's important. Right, so it's pretty obvious that a trade deficit with Lesotho is not an emergency. This is from David Korn, but that's the justification Trump's claims for seizing the power to impose across-the-board tariffs that a president doesn't have under the Constitution. So this is about Donald Trump exceeding his authority and his lack of constitutionalism. This goes in part and parcel with the independent agencies thing and Trump being made a king. This is now another piece about Donald Trump and the Supreme Court. So, and then making him a king. And so this is crushing regulation. And, you know, people need to understand that, right, about our world. And I think that that's important. So maybe that's a big one that we focus on in the Daily Dose. So this is the Supreme Court wants to crush regulation, but not the Fed. So this goes in line with other things people are talking about with regards to that. We have a piece here about and contextualization from Andy Craig saying tin pot kleptocracies don't conduct their bribery and corruption this openly. I mean, that is wild. This is just wild. Paramount has offered $15 million to settle. Trump's team wants more than $25 million and is also seeking an apology. All people involved in the deal clearing understand the payment as the price of a merger approval. So this is literally like bribery by the president saying like, oh, if you want something approved, you have to give us $25 million. Right, which is just utter deep corruption. Stop writing that he's leaving Doge without mentioning that just a few days ago, the Solicitor General told the United States Supreme Court that he is not part of Doge, right? So this is perspective that we need, that like Donald, like, you know, they're all lying about what they're doing at all times. Elon Musk is technically, according to the government, that is technically did not really establish Doge because it is not an act of Congress that established Doge. Government agencies under the executive are established by an act of Congress. That never happened with Dodgy. Dodgy is not really a real thing, even though our media created the idea and impression for the public that it was. Okay. And then this guy heard new COVID strain and decided he needed to focus on the oldest strains instead. This is just making fun of Dan Bongino, who posted that as we read and process reports of a new COVID strain emerging, I want you to know that we are all actively investigating in multiple field offices the cover-up of the origin of the COVID virus, along with associated matters requiring our attention. You deserve answers. So I guess we deserve answers, but do we deserve to have our government focused on things that are not actively pressing? Right, there's a new COVID strain, and the FBI deputy director wants to keep pursuing, like, you know, conspiracy theories, or just like, does it matter? I mean, maybe people lost a loved one and they think that that's the most important thing that happened, and that like we need to get to the bottom of it. There needs to be someone to blame. I understand that human sentiment, but like, you know, it's also part of their disinformation campaign. This is further perspective on that thing that happened with Donald Trump and the Trump administration extorting Paramount for their merger deal. This is Pwn All Things says, on Earth 2.0, folks on the other side of the aisle would say loud and clear that if everyone involved in the deal understands the payment as a price of merger approval, then it is a bribe, and all of those people should expect to go to prison if it goes ahead in the next administration. Right, that's important context. Okay, so we've gotten to the end of the things that we've retweeted, and then I do have a bunch of some other things up here that I want to show people. We have our restacks. So we've got Parker Malloy on Substack, our restacks. Why mainstream news outlets keep giving legitimacy to attacks on transgender healthcare. We've got, again, the Aaron Rupar thing about the lawlessness and the destruction of our independent agencies. We've got the reality of AI and what it is doing in our newspapers and information ecosystem, about how they got book recommendations at the Chicago Sun-Times that don't actually exist. We've got information from... Okay, Linda, I'm going to need you to post that one more time. Sorry, Linda, when I have to do that. We've got information from, but I need you to post that one more time, Linda. Thank you so much. And then let me just keep showing you some of this stuff. So the combined wealth of the 10 richest U.S. billionaires increased by over $360 billion in the last year. Meanwhile, 60% of Americans don't earn enough to afford basic cost of living. So if you want to get regular updates and synthesis and little memes about our economic situation, Robert Reich is an excellent source of that. Thank you so much, Linda. And so you should follow him wherever books are sold. You should follow him on Substack. So David Frum is telling us that Trump and his family are extorting billions of dollars from U.S. companies and foreign nations. In this new piece in The Atlantic, he examines past U.S. corruption and concludes Trump can't be compared to anything American, only Russia or Africa, in terms of his level of corruption. So, Linda, that's incredible. Oh, thank you for the further context. That's incredible. And Jason saying, perfect, what could go wrong with AI? I know. But so, Linda, this is also an incredible thing, and I think this should be in there. Like, Trump's corruption is something that our MAGA friends and loved ones just have no concept of. And even though they have been told that David Frum is a freak enemy, and, you know, David Frum is a weird guy, but, you know, they've been told not to listen to information. We think that this is super important. Trump's corruption is out of control. This is an awesome one, Linda. Thank you so much for it. So I'm pretty excited about all of this. And let me keep going because I just have one or two other pieces. So I'm going to restack that. what you just shared with me. Did I? What's happening? Oh, here it is. So thank you so much. That's restacked to our Blue Sky so everyone can grab it there and be a fact warrior. You can literally just go through what Rev Deuce has restacked. You can go to those articles. You can share them to your Facebook. You can share them to your Instagram. You can share them to your TikTok. You need to be a fact warrior. So we've created on Substack. We've created on Blue Sky, right? Rev Deuce is retweeting, restacking information that you can then go easily find by going to Rev Deuce's profiles, and then you can go and be a fact warrior, okay? It's make no bones about it. Don't get it twisted. You need to be spreading fact-based, healthy information every single second that you are online. And so welcome Susan, welcome Anima. What we are doing today is we are building a new product that we are going to put out hopefully every single weekday that is basically the daily dose, right? We are using the things that we have already created. We have a prayer about how to be a good person in the world. It's called the Daily Dose. Well, how do you be a good member of civic society? You are informed, right? In order to participate in a democracy, you have to be informed of what is happening in your democracy. So journalism, being informed, knowing what's going on in the world, that is the bedrock of democracy. Journalism is the immune system of democracy, telling us about the harms so the white blood cells of us, citizens, can go and apply pressure, apply ourselves to what needs to be filtered out of the body politic so that we are healthy. Okay, are you with me? Are you following me? Do you hear me? Do you care? We need to be doing this at all times. Yes, and. So we are just going to focus on one or two other things. I have a bunch of tabs, and I'm going to click on the wrong things probably, and I apologize about that. But just bear with me. It's just a few more articles that apply to this, apply to what we're doing here today. I'm just scanning my... oh my God, this is one from a long time ago. This is when someone joined in our TikTok to tell us that CNN was like really the main devil when it comes to propaganda, and they were telling us about how CNN had covered this and like said Trump was terrible or whatever. And I pointed out to that person that like, yeah, but like, you like Fox News? Okay, what do they say every day about politicians they don't like? And you know, is there... Anyway, you know, I made it a whataboutism sort of, but that's okay for me in that moment. Okay, what the hell is this? This is Elon Musk's takeover. Oh, so it's being rumored, everyone. I don't know if you know this, but it's being rumored. This is wild stuff, okay? This is the conspiracy theory portion of the show. I am an information nutritionist, but I just want to let you know this article goes back a couple months, but apparently this is stuff that I've seen on the internet, and I'm saying it's loose in its verification. But apparently Stephen Miller and his wife are kind of like poly, and apparently Stephen Miller and his wife are like in a relationship with Elon Musk. I know this all sounds crazy. Let me just check in on that really quick, because I had Marissa Kabas posted something about it last night. But let's check it out. So Katie Miller is okay. This is the origination of this rumor. But we're saying Stephen Miller, his wife, and Elon are wildly rumored to be a throuple. Now Miller's wife is leaving the Trump team to be with Musk, and literally, per the New York Times, Stephen is angrily subtweeting Musk. They actually put it in the paper of record that he was mad. Okay, so that's pretty sensational, but we're getting other reporting, and that Wired article sort of talks about they have like a weird relationship amongst the three of them. And but it is true that that Stephen Miller's wife, Katie, is leaving the Trump administration to then work for Elon Musk. And, you know, what's going on? She had become sort of the Doge comms person. So this is Katie Miller reposting, as my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank the president. The Doge mission will also strengthen. So she reposted that. She also posted at the same time, Doge is a way of life like Buddhism, Musk said Wednesday night of his imminent shift in focus to running his companies. Okay. So I just want you to keep an eye out for all of that. I'm not saying that that is verified information, but look, like sometimes we can also enjoy the salacious world that we live in while still being fact warriors and committing to fact-based information. So this would be another article, the courts make it up as you go constitution, right? This would be another part and parcel of our discussion of the Supreme Court and independent agencies, right? And so that could be like the focus of today's Daily Dose, or we could just pick one of them and have that be the representative article. So that would be Supreme Court kills the independent agency, Trump is king, right? So that's another extremely important piece of context. We could look at that, and that could be part of it. This is Steve Vladek writing about a constitutional principle like the unitary executive theory isn't worth all that much if the Supreme Court can conjure new unprincipled exceptions to it, speaking of the Fed, to it by simply asserting that they exist, right? So this is another breakdown of this making Donald Trump a king. So, like, do we think that that is extremely important to put in our Daily Dose? And then what is the rest of this stuff? This is a perspective on American education, so we could throw that in with our Harvard thing, right? We could throw that in to that space. Okay, I know this is a little bit wild and a little bit fast, everybody. Okay, this is just why do I even have this? This is just stupid. And sorry if someone shared that with me. And then let's just take a quick look at the disinformation that's going on. Juanita Broderick is pushed so hard by the Twitter algorithm. Megyn Kelly, professional propagandist, says get them all out. The suspect accused of a fatal hit-and-run jet ski crash that killed American teenager in Texas on Sunday is a Venezuelan illegal alien. Police says she and another illegal alien fled the scene after the incident. So Megyn Kelly is using a tragedy that involved a Venezuelan illegal alien to say get them all out in caps, which again, what we know is get them all out means exile them to a foreign gulag for the rest of their lives. So does every immigrant who has illegally entered our country deserve to be going to a foreign gulag for the rest of their lives because someone that they don't know and have never met and don't care about and aren't involved with at all recklessly killed someone in a act of manslaughter? Anyway, I digress big time and hard right there. What is this? What is this? Oh, this is that Radio Mambi thing that I constantly go back to. Incredible. This is rebuilding local news. Okay. So I think we're ready to wrap up like the fast exploration of all of the things that we could be doing in our Daily Dose for today. And what I want to do briefly as a palate cleanser for everyone who sat there with me for all of that, which I'm so grateful for, is I want to just show you some stuff that I encountered on the internet, because we like to talk about how much disinformation is out there in the world at all times. And so I have to show you some really freaking wild stuff that I've come across, everybody. Can you see what's on the screen right now?
Green, green. Green, green. Green, green. Green, green.
Okay, so this is a video purporting to show a crowd in New York City for freedom of Palestine. Thousands of people are protesting for Palestine. This was produced 3 days ago. This just came into my feed. This just came across my view while I was flipping through social media. Now, we know that 1 in 5 U.S. adults gets their news, all their news, from social media and social media influencers, okay? Now, look at this. Take a look at this. I know that it is on a screen. Maybe you are watching on your phone. It may be hard to see. But if you look at this crowd, it is totally obviously AI. If you look at this flag right here, if you can see my cursor, if you look at this flag, it is not a Palestinian flag, right? It is just some warped. The flags have different sizes. The triangles are different sizes. Like this last flag right here, it all looks very unnatural. These cars, there's people on the sidewalk who are appearing and disappearing. There are no awnings at all on any of these buildings, right? Which is just not how it works in New York City. The trees don't really make sense. There are cars on both sides of the sidewalk, which, like, yeah, if you're at like Eastern Parkway or something, like maybe that is kind of how it works. There's like a road to the side of the main road. But anyway, this is clearly not real, okay? And then if you look in the comments, it says, well, first there's a comment from your old pal Rev Deuce, but then it says, you know, I support Palestine because I'm human. I am a Jew who supports Palestine and don't, you know, like there's just people who immediately, Lou Roxy says, New York, thank you, free Palestine, right? Human beings, Americans are falling for this. This creator is going into the comments and pushing this. Now let's look and see what this creator is also sharing. Okay, every single one of these videos, they claim to share world news and disasters, and they say, don't forget to follow, and they have almost 20,000 followers. Way more than Rev Deuce. What the hell? What can you do about that for Rev Deuce? Anyway, look at this. Look at this one. Look at how unnatural this is. This is people walking or running in a circle. All of these flags look different. This is not a Palestinian flag. This Palestinian flag is warping in an unusual way. This one is the wrong colors in the wrong places. Okay, this is fake. It says that there is protests that are happening to take a stand, right? Okay, and where is this? Where are they purporting? This looks like they typed in, show me something that looks like Union Square, honestly, but it is not Union Square, and it does not actually look like Union Square, okay? Look at all of this. Gaza. This is an AI-created video, okay? It says Gaza situation right now. Okay, it has tons of people. Are they real or not? I don't know. Saying free Palestine. Okay, we've got this is AI generated. If you look at the children and their faces, if you look at the like if you look at the text here, it says save Gaki. If you look at this sign, it is moving in an unnatural way. So all of this is AI generated, okay? Look at these. Look at these. My body, my choice, my body, my choice, choice. Gibberish, right? The crowd is moving unnaturally. This is from April 15th. There was no massive women's protest on April 15th. Okay? There was a protest on April 5th. There was a protest on April 19th. There was no massive protest, and this crowd is moving completely unnaturally. And then there are people commenting. Are they real people? Support from Germany, support from France. Like, what are people doing in their information diet as they go around the internet? Are they even spending 1 second? Hands off my rights. This is AI generated. All of this is AI generated. My body, my choice. The sign is moving completely unnaturally, and choice is spelled incorrectly. Does not matter. People are saying, awesome, never give up. Support from Hungary. Amen, God. Please wake up, Democrats. Why use an AI video rather than videos from the actual march? Okay, thank you, Danielle. But okay, you need to understand that we are in an information war. Who even owns this account? Who created this account? Look at this. This is supposed to be Washington Square Park. That is not what Washington Square Park looks like. The orientation is totally wrong. The arch does not lead. The arch does not sit in between two parks. The arch is literally from the street into the park. This has the arch sitting in the center of the park. Okay? So we just need everybody to be aware of that. Okay, everybody, now it is time to vote. All right? And then Rev Deuce is going to go make this product. Okay? And we are going to see what this looks like, and it's going to be friggin' rad. So the origin of this, everybody, this is a conversation now. This is the conversation portion of the day with Rev Deuce. The origin of this, everybody, is that I'm an information nutritionist. I claim to be the world's only information nutritionist, and I recently decided I need to make a healthy MAGA media diet. A list of healthy MAGA. If I'm an information nutritionist, if you come to my clinic and I only offer products for a certain type of person who struggles with a certain type of weight issue, whether it be like a chronic disease, whether it be they have a wheat allergy, whatever it is, I'm supposed to have an answer for them. And so if I am an information nutritionist, I need to not just be sharing fact-based, contextualized information that suits the realities of people who are non-MAGA. I need to be creating products and have a nutrition plan. That's right, nutrition plan for MAGA folks as well. And so I tried to do that, but that's very difficult because you can't find too much fact-based pro-democracy information sources that are not like anti-trans existence, that aren't necessarily part of the propaganda machine that appeal to MAGA friends and loved ones and neighbors. So then the idea is, what if I came up with something that was like, here's 4 things that I need you to read today, MAGA, if you want to have a different perspective, right? Doing what ground news does, but from the perspective of someone who actually understands our information ecosystem, like your old pal Rev Deuce. And then through discussion with my fiance this morning, it morphed into, well, why does it just have to be about MAGA? I could be in my later TikTok streams, and when I'm encountering MAGA folks, here's 4 things that you should read and also everybody else should read. This is the context we need to understand the news. So I have all the products I already do, right? We have our Blue Sky profile with the lists that exist there. And when we go to the lists on our Blue Sky profile, which you all know already, but we see that I've created lists that are like fact checkers, diverse opinion. If you want to know what's going on with the Supreme Court, we've got legal experts on the Constitution who you can go click on that list and you can find out, perspective, like an expert on immigration law who's saying these people fundamentally dislike the country. You can get information about the administration lies that it's going after the worst of the worst. Those lies are getting weaker and weaker every day. This is video from in Florida, immigration raid against people who are literally working to build our housing by ICE agents wearing military gear and looking like they are in a war zone, right? These are just dudes building houses. They said they'd go after violent criminals. So this is the perspective on our world that you can get using our lists, right? This is a perspective from Chris Geidner, who talks about how Emil Bove cannot become a federal judge. Right, Emil Bove is a bad person. I don't remember everything about Emil Bove off the top of my head, but the point is the lists, right? You can go find out about Emil Bove, right? Anyway, so this is another product. So Jason, are you with me? I know you are. Linda, I know you're probably still here. Susan, I know you're probably still here. If you are here in the Substack, raise your hand. If you are here, who is our one viewer on Twitch and YouTube? Let us know. I would love to understand who you are. And so we are going to put together, I'm gonna get your perspective. You're gonna help me make this, okay? So are the things that we need people to know about the most today, right? That we looked at and that came across our, oh right, Emil Bove was defense attorney for Trump. Thank you. Hey, David. Okay, David, perfect. You're obviously someone who I want to be chiming in and giving me help on this. So let's go back through it. We had the piece of messaging. Do we put that into the Daily Dose? That is like a maybe AI generated, very aggressive, argument rant against members of Congress who should be waking up and taking action. We have the reality that Trump's coup consequences. Hey, Susan. Hey, Jason. Hey, Linda. Thank you for chiming in. We have, and I'm going to make a vote on this. We're just reviewing. And then we have the reality that Trump did, that his budget is going, coup consequences, another consequence of the budget, right? There's lots of bad things about this budget, but 830,000 jobs will be lost by 2030, and energy prices will double by 2035, right? Then next, wealth redistribution, right? The information on wealth redistribution. I think that is something that, that is pretty important for people to understand. And, that is something that, we can put into the Daily Dose. That Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill will, once again put wealth into the hands of the 1% and hurt poor people, right? The Scott Pelley thing we're not going to include because it's just way too long. The Sean Duffy thing we are not going to include, but we could include it as just like a palate cleanser of like.
Yes.
And by the way, listen, if you're a
I
liberal,
don't
Larry,
know. That's kind of a hard argument to make, but maybe we could include that as like a little blurby. Okay, continuing to go through. Thank you so much. We have our first thing about Trump and independent agencies, right? So we have this one from Public Notice. And so we could say right now that we'll select the best one of this. And so we could say that we make the whole thing, today's whole Daily Dose, context about SCOTUS and independent agencies and Trump being king and all of that kind of a thing, right? We have multiple articles about that. Then we have Oklahoma Republicans installed a new social studies curriculum that will require all of the state's public schools to teach conspiracy theories. Right? How important is that for people to know and understand? The frame of this article is specifically about how parents of students who don't want them to be taught conspiracies are able to opt out according to a law that Oklahoma Republicans passed. Or was that voter suppression thing? We've got the idea of voter suppression from Democracy Doctorate. Jason is saying in the Substack, David, and our other viewer on Twitch and YouTube, that he likes the idea of focusing on one article. Susan, David, Linda, one issue, and giving lots of context around it. I feel like I like that too, Jason. I just, maybe it's like, maybe what we could do, maybe what we could say, Jason, if we have something like that, and we have a bunch of articles on any given day, because I have so many more articles about the court thing and the Constitution. Maybe it's like we still make it across numbers of different topics, because I think that there's so much going on every single day that it is nice to give people like the full perspective of this is all so fucked, right? By doing that. Yeah, I know. Oh, no. So Linda is also saying yes, one issue. But see, then what happens is we might not get to other issues. Right, like say the next day is, and maybe that's fine, right? We're going to be doing this every day, so we're all in this together. We're all making this product. We are all fact warriors who are making this happen. So I'm hearing lots about one issue. So David likes the idea of what we just did, which is doing a bunch of stories here. Well, David, in TikTok, I'm still going to be doing the, hopefully just talking about our information ecosystem in general. And then having this be one product that I can reference in addition to the others, right? So that I, really build my strength and my understanding and brand amongst people on TikTok that, here's the guy who is the information nutritionist. Linda says, we know attention spans appear to be shortening and too many people might turn off. So, Linda, do you mean that in the sense of, like, if I have many different things, like if we show the thing about the voter suppression and the thing about Harvard and the thing about SCOTUS and Trump being able to destroy independent agencies, that, like, that's too much for people to handle? And Jason is saying, good point, Linda. Also, if it's a major issue a day. I don't know. I need a little more context there, Jason. But so I'm loving this conversation, and I'm so grateful for all of you. If anybody wanted to call in, and talk about it, I'm going to put about like 10 more minutes on this conversation and this understanding of what this product is. Then I'm going to make the product. It will be available today, and we can continue to workshop it. And I'm so grateful for all of you. Sorry, Linda. It's so hard when I'm live streaming. I just need everybody to provide me a little bit of context for their comments, like which thing are you referring to? So I'm so sorry. But there's like but David says, but having one deep dive on TikTok while still hitting the info nutrition bit will rein in the gish galloping. That could be true, David. Yes, that's a good perspective. And so Susan is saying in Substack, some things take a long time to play out. Jason is saying, over the span of 7 days, 5 days, Jason, please don't make me work on the weekends, we will be some kick-ass fact warriors. Hell effing yeah. Susan says, pointing out misleading things is very valuable. Pointing out misleading things. So which of the... You mean disinformation, Susan? And so are you talking about when we were talking about the Palestine stuff? Because that's something that could be a part of the Daily Dose every day. I think that could be really cool, is like, here's a piece of disinformation, you're not immune. Like, so the Daily Dose also could just have like the toxin report or something, like the way that we have, like, the weather, what is it about the air quality, that kind of a thinking. And talk about, like, the quality of the environment. So, okay, but so for the folks in Substack, it's like short debunk messages on multiple things, says Linda. That's interesting, Linda. I mean, I still like doing sort of the debunk videos, and I think that those have like lots of legs, right? Like, it's harder to do what we're doing with this product as a video every single day. One, it would take me a really long time to like get everything perfectly accurate, then record the video and then edit the video. And I'm not saying you said that I should make this a video, but debunking things takes a lot of time. So I think just like highlighting disinformation may be the key for this product, the Daily Dose product. And then I just want to understand what a bunch of you were saying in the Substack about, it seems like the consensus, even while listening to me talk about reasons why we might not want to do one deep dive issue, and it might be something different every single day in terms of some days it might be a deep dive, some days it might not. I just feel like also it's like, what if we focused on one of the articles that was part of that idea of a deep dive and then just listed the 4 other articles, like, if you want to do further reading on this one, here's 4 other articles. That's my other idea about that. But it sounds like most of you are saying that attention spans are such that, like, if we did 4 things, if we did voter suppression, if we did, for instance, the value of universities and education and the attack on Harvard, and we picked the best article and then we listed 2 other articles that are available. If we did the, wealth redistribution thing, and if we did the Trump job energy consequences thing, that's like too distracting to people. Jason, which idea? Jason, which idea? Sorry, again, it's hard for me to follow. It probably leads to more work for me to like focus on the deep dive of each one, just because I will feel the need to like write more about it. And I just want to kind of like have this be a simple product that like quickly gives people like a little bit of perspective, and then they can click through to learn more, right? It's almost like how I tell you guys to go look at my feeds so that you can get all this information, but it's like concentrated on like the things that we decide each day are the things that we're going to cover. And, you know, we can change this, right? This can change. So Jason says the idea of one story, and then if you like this, like these are 4 links. Right. So I mean, I feel like I'm going against the crowd though. So let's just, okay, here we go. Just one more time. Let's just vote on this, okay? The 4 or 5 of you, I'm so grateful. I love you so much. This is fucking awesome, honestly. And also, Linda, do you know anybody who's a Premier League fan and like what's their team? Because look, I'm obsessed with soccer, or at least Liverpool. I almost went to Liverpool this year, and it didn't work out. But so here we go. I'm just going to poll you all one more time, and please, despite my arguments against, I want your real feelings. So do we do like not a deep dive, but do we do only multiple articles about one topic? Or do we do like 4 topics? If one of those 4 topics has multiple articles about it, we would have otherwise done the deep dive. We then just list off those other articles for further reading. So, Linda, you say you think simple is best. David. Linda, you think simple is best. So what is that a vote for? Is that a vote for of focusing on just one topic or multiple topics? Anima says chaos reigns. Is that a comment on my ability to wrangle all of these comments? And Susan, wait. Susan, you can't just give a thumbs up. Okay, multiple topics, one topic. With the caveat that multiple topics can have a subset list, okay? So we're doing multiple or one. That is what we're typing in the chats. Multiple or one. Multiple or one. That is what we were talking about with the daily dose. Remember, so Susan says multiple. Remember, we want there to be the vitamins of vitamin C, context, vitamin F, facts, and vitamin D, democracy. Linda is agreeing with Jason. Anima says more is more. Anima, you cheeky bugger, that is not helpful. David says one. We've done multiple. Let's try one. The votes are coming in. Head to your phones and tap the screen to let us know which you prefer, multiple or one. Anima says, do the damn thing. Plenty of fish. Yeah. I never used the dating app Plenty of Fish. I found my fiance on Bumble. And then we deleted our accounts. And then I was like, hey, wait a second, Bumble. Like, I want to look at the messages we shared with each other when we were falling in love. And they were like, screw you, dude. We can't give you that. So Linda says, try one and see how it goes. Okay, fine. Which one? Because, so, okay, now the next question. Okay, so that's what the votes overall are for. I personally agree with Susan, but I'm listening to the public. And then, so which of these are you wanting me to do? SCOTUS getting rid of independent agencies and what that means for America. The Harvard thing and education in general and what it means, the attacks on Harvard and the attacks on academia, which we had a couple of articles for. Those are really the only 2 topics that we have multiples for. So that's limiting, our choice. So basically, SCOTUS Trump King or Harvard attacks on academia and research. So basically say SCOTUS or say Harvard, please. Say SCOTUS or Harvard. David is saying in the chat, attacks on academia. See, the problem is I want to flesh out do two. Then Linda says do two. Jason says, may I call in? Of course, Jason. You can just call in anytime, Susan says SCOTUS. Democracy, am I right? So one for SCOTUS, one for academia. Linda, are you... What is... Linda, no. Linda, what are you doing? Linda says Scarvard. Are you combining SCOTUS and Harvard? So I'll just take Linda's Scarvard as a vote for Harvard. And next up, what do we have? Is that everyone's vote? So far, I only really have 3 votes that I'm counting. So far, I only have 3 votes that I'm counting. I've got 2 for academia, 1 from David, 1 from Linda, and I've got 1 vote for SCOTUS. That is from Susan. And then we are waiting for David to call. For Jason to call in. And fascinating. Okay, this has been really fun. Also, how was it to experience me doing the lightning round through all of the information? I would like to understand how people felt about that. Okay, here we go. Hello, Jason.
Yo, what's going on, bud?
Not much.
All right, so here was my thought, and let me turn you off because I think you have you in the background for some reason, which I don't need to do. So here's my thought. Why is this not good? Okay, so I'm sorry, here we go. So here was my thought, and I don't know, I just want to throw it by everybody, is if you have like multiple, so if it's let's just say it's immigration, and you have the one story about it, and then it tapers off into how those lines intersect with other stories that are relevant. So you're getting more subjects in, but they have to tie in some way that are making sense. Does that make sense, or am I just kind of talking out of my ass?
I think what you're saying makes a little bit of sense to me. I think what you're saying is that, like, you focus on one, but then wherever they, like, intersect with other things, you, like, throw in other information?
Yeah, like sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's it.
So, like, my thought is like this, just for example. And I'll try to make this brief so you can get back to what you're doing. So if you're talking about immigration, and then it's like, this is what happened in Boca Raton, and then the next 5 stories are who the players are in this, and then you're still getting all that information, but it all intersects. So you know who the players are, you know the score, you know who the people are, and it's not that it's a game, but you now know, you're informed. So if someone tries to hit you with, immigration isn't happening, this is how it goes, you go, no, this is who did it, this is how it happened, and this is what they've been continuing to do. Does that make sense, or am I just kind of blowing out there?
Will you say it one more time?
So my thought is if it's an issue of immigration, and if it's happening in California, then you could either intersect lines of like, how do we stop it? You know, how do we know how it's happening? Maybe I'm not making sense.
No, you are making sense. You are making sense. I'm just going to say it's a beautiful idea. It's a wonderful idea. If I had more time, I would do it.
Yeah.
The problem is I'm also trying to make this something that I can push out every day while also getting other stuff done. So, you know, it's basically like you're running into the brick wall of Deuce's ability to produce things. And so I'd like for this to take I'd like for us every day to spend an hour together going through the news and deciding what's the thing that we're going to cover or the things that we're going to cover. And then I'd like to get off, maybe do the things that I have to do in my own life, around the house or whatever administratively. Spend about an hour and a half, like tops, which is a very limited amount of time in terms of the time it takes me normally to write an article. But spend like an hour and a half putting this together and then pumping it out. So it's going to be sort of cursory, but what it's going to be is it's going to like offer people like the ability to, like I was saying, like read further. So like that's why I think when people are talking about a deep dive or focusing on one topic, wouldn't all like the get off? I don't know what that means, David. Anima is saying, he's saying just have details. Yeah, so I'll try as best I can to have details, but the point is I'm going to literally use AI to do a synopsis of the articles. I'm going to rewrite those synopses, and then I'm going to like move on. And so I think that the idea being that like every single day there will be a place where people can know that they can find a little bit more about what's going on in the world. Which is, again, my argument for it being like 4 different things. But I want to honor everybody. I may dishonor all of you. I may get off the call and I may go, you know what? I still think that this is the way. And we did have votes one way or the other. I hate to perpetuate the reality of minority rule and authoritarianism for all of you, but that may be how it goes.
Hey, listen, it's your gig, I mean, you're at least trying to amplify voices and you're trying to give everyone an opportunity to partake, which is amazing, which is great. But ultimately, you're going to have that decision. Again, I didn't mean to be so convoluted, but that's just kind of how my mind wraps around things.
Yeah, totally. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Jason.
Yeah, no worries.
How's it going with that town hall?
It's a struggle. It's going to end up turning into, if I do it, it's going to be me. There's not going to be any real presentation from anybody like in our Congress or in anybody. Like they all seem to balk. They all like, oh, send me an email, tell me what you're thinking, and then you send it, and then it just turns into, yeah, we're busy, or yeah, this is exactly what we're trying to do right now, or I've had 2 different people. Like I tried to reach out to Brendan Boyle in Philly, and he's like, well, we don't normally partner with anybody, who's not accredited or whatever. And I've reached out to a couple different people, so I'm still working on it. It's still very much in the forefront, but it doesn't seem to be. If it's going to be done, it's going to be very grassroots and just like, hey, speak your mind. It's like a podium, and I might still invite people who want to come if they're free, but. Like as far as like people who are on Substack or Facebook or wherever anyone is, if they want to partake, but it doesn't look too strong from like any kind of political backing, which doesn't have to happen. But I thought it'd be nice,
Yeah, it would be nice. Well, look, keep me posted. Maybe that was a little bit more Baltimore than Philly, but keep me posted.
I certainly will, and I appreciate your time as always.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time and your devotion, Jason. Thank you so much. It's incredible. And so, all right. Well, cool. So I'll talk to you next time, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Absolutely, brother. Have a great day.
All right. You too. Okay. So that was Jason. Thank you so much for calling in. And, it's just awesome. It's awesome to have this little community of people who give so many shits. And, I'm grateful for all of it. I'm grateful for Linda saying, do what you think is best. And so we're going to do that. And I'm grateful for you all, like, partying with me in this way where we're hanging out and we're talking about, how to help people get fact-based information. And so I'm going to take all of that and I'm going to go and make this product, and it may be what some of us talked about and thought I was going to do, and it may be something else. I'm going to see what happens as I get in there and start doing it, and then you're going to give me feedback tomorrow on it. Okay, so I'm going to post it to Substack at some point. Let's say we're going to aim for like 2:00 to post to Substack. It'll probably take me longer to do than I want to today, and then you can give me all the feedback that you want, and I would be so grateful for all of it. And so I'm so grateful for all of you. Just a reminder to everyone that tonight my nonprofit, the Media and Democracy Project, is hosting an event with Pulitzer Prize-winning editorial cartoonist Ann Telnaes. Ann Telnaes created this cartoon that you see on the, a baking powder. And Linda, I never got an answer from you about James O'Brien does a topic each hour, but he has listeners calling in, but it's a very fact-based show. He's written books on how he's revolved from a shock jock. Sweet. Linda, I never got an answer from you about the Premier League and if you give any poops at all about soccer. Of course, you call it football, but soccer is a British term originating from schoolboys in the late 1800s who put ER on the back of lots of words. It was their vernacular at the time, and so it was called association football, and so then they shortened it to a sock, and then they shortened it to soccer. So anyway, yeah, I've seen that LBC radio program. That does look pretty cool. They do seem to be progressive, which is, of course, Rev's personal politics. But, of course, Rev's bias is towards facts and democracy, and he tries to keep his personal political biases out of things in general. But so anyway, here we go. So come join us for this conversation with Ann Telnaes. She resigned from the Washington Post after Jeff Bezos' editor said that she couldn't run this cartoon over here that had major corporations and oligarchs prostrating themselves and offering money up to a statue of Donald Trump. And so that should be an incredible conversation that we have tonight with Ann Telnaes. So I will be there. I would love to see all of you there. That would be so dope to have a couple of the heads in there. That is at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can sign up by clicking the link on the MediaandDemocracyProject.org's website. Yeah, check that out. That would be so cool to have people there. And so we are going to wrap it up. I'm going to go make this product. We are doing everything, okay? We're doing everything. So can you do everything to spread the message of Rev Deuce? It's going to be exciting to start posting to Substack anyway, again, because I kind of let that slip as I've focused so much on the live streaming. And so we're so happy to have all of you here. You are beautiful beings of light. You are the sun's energy wrapped in flesh and bone. Light beams from the sky, and you catch it by eating or drinking. We literally are energy vibrating on a frequency at all times. And so what frequency do we want to vibe on throughout our day? What frequency do we want to pass on to others? How do we want to lift each other up? How do we want to support people? How do we want to recognize that every single person across from us is human? They're doing the best they can with what they have, and their ideas have come to them in the same way that our ideas have come to us. They are just sometimes radically different ideas. So use your compassion, use your understanding, use your abilities as a member of the Mega Church of Joy. Excuse me, I'm adjusting my microphone. Use your skills that you learn here for energy, support, commitment, giving, connection, and gratitude. Be a fact warrior. Neil Abrams, I think you and I have interacted before. Neil, let me know if you're still here. Neil, this is our program. Neil, come to this event here with the Media and Democracy Project tonight. Anima, who is new to the space, is saying, oh, so this is like new age. Okay, Anima, you just deserved for yourself a little breakdown of what happens here. I'm Rev Deuce. I created a religion based on the tenets of quality improvisational comedy in 2014 after ingesting a certain ego-suppressing compound, and after my niece bought me an improv class because she thought I looked sad. And at that time, I was at rock bottom. I was selling seashells by the seashore to support my video game addiction. My dog had left me, and my wife ran away straight into the Everglades, never found her again. And so while I was on the shores of Boca Raton, fear appeared to me in a vision. And fear told me what a loser I was, what a piece of shit I was, how inadequate I was, and how I would never amount to anything, and all of my ideas were terrible. And so what happened is I realized that fear is our God. Fear is in control of what we do in life, whether we do the thing or don't do the thing. Yes, Linda, it is online, and it will be at about 2 a.m. for you. Anima, thank you for calling in a few weeks ago. Okay, so you get it, but you didn't know the New Age part. So the New Age part is that we also understand, Rev Deuce understands, that fear is actually a program that is being perpetrated on all of us by the oligarchs and the billionaires who own the means of communication, who tune the algorithms and the headlines to have us at each other's throats. And so we have fascism in America because of propaganda. We have global rise in authoritarianism because of propaganda. Propaganda is fear's program in text and word and meme. Information is physical, and we are being bombarded with it every single day. It is affecting our minds and our outcomes. And so it is dividing us from each other, and human connection is the key to joy. The Mega Church of Joy is all about how can we achieve more joy in life and in the world. So that's a little bit of the background, maybe a little convoluted, but hey, we're partying. So everybody, I love you, you love me. Please go out and be a fact warrior. You can go to the Blue Sky. You can go to the Public Enlightenment Blue Sky. You can go to publicenlightenment.com. You can go to our Twitch. You can go to our Twitter. You can go to our YouTube. I've got videos there that are criminally under subscribed to, that are criminally undershared, that are criminally underviewed. They are helping people to contextualize our information ecosystem. So how can you help Revduce by going and spreading the good word, the gospel of fact worship and fact spreading? Yes, and so I love you, you love me. Go and be a fact warrior today. Here's one thing you could do right now to be a fact warrior besides going to our accounts and retweeting, reposting, resharing all of that information that you see. And when I say retweeting, I mean Blue Sky, by the way. Do not use Twitter. But how can you go and use all of these videos that I've created? 41 views, criminal. 89 views, criminal. These need millions of views, okay? Millions of views. Is liberal media bias a myth? Yes, it is. Tell others. How do you fight right-wing manipulation? Go tell others, right? Charlie Kirk is brainwashing children's minds across America on behalf of fossil fuel and Christian nationalist billionaires. Go tell people about it. All right, 26 views. Are you kidding my daddy? These needs millions of views. So how do you make Revduce go viral? Yes, and please. Have a great day. Tell someone you love them. If you're online and you're not spreading fact-based information every single second, log off, write a book, read a book, call a friend, be a friend. Go for a walk, be a walk. Learn a new recipe, be a recipe for joy and connection in the world. You are beautiful beings of light. Don't ever forget it. Make other people look like rock stars every single time you converse with another human being. Have a great day. I'll see you at TikTok, 3:30 to 4 p.m. That's when we go on TikTok every day. Let's boogie, baby. Let's boogie, baby. Let's boogie, baby. Goodbye. I love you.